Yes, I did.
Before we get seriously into the return journey, I think it's worth just explaining that video photography out of a window on a moving vehicle is notoriously difficult, and also you get a lot of trees and that rushing by. It's going to be almost impossible to edit it out, but I just hope it gives you the feeling of the actual trip. Some of my audio might be a bit quiet, but I don't think it would be right to take the sound down and overdub it, so forgive me if you get those bits. I'll try and add a commentary where I think the actual sound is too loud and I need to lower it a bit, but this will prove to be, I think, a very awkward video to edit, so bear with the imperfections. Hopefully they're more than made up for by the fantastic views you get on this side of the tram going back to Douglas, where we finally arrive at Derby Castle, and you get a chance to meet a couple of the horses used on the horse tram across Douglas Bay. Enjoy the ride.
This is car number 22. Very different to the one we came up in. Still lovely nonetheless.
We leave Ramsay on the electric railway and immediately start the climb over the next head. And we sit in their garden down there. The gardens are on the other side of the houses. The first of several crossings as Ramsay expanded. We'll do for this bit. What you see here is the Queen's Pier at Ramsay, opened in 1886. At just about half a mile long, it's the 6th longest in the British Isles, I believe. It was closed by the Manx government in 1990 and deemed unsafe, but since 2016 has been restored by a voluntary group funded entirely by donations, and the first part was reopened in 2021. Of interest to railway enthusiasts might be the fact that there was a railway that ran out. It turned round on the promenade and went out to the end of the pier, and until its closure was operated by, of all things, a little Wickham trolley, just like the one some of you might remember seeing in the Great St Trinian's train robbery. Like I said, the first part of it was opened again in 2021, and it will gradually be restored as funds and volunteers allow, and they also hope to reinstate the railway once it's done. It's a long-term thing. It was closed for over 30 years, so good on them, and I wish them every success. These are the controls. Old, simple, but they work. Electronic resistors. Amazing.
again. Reflection. Sorry, here. We're off for an afternoon walk in Glen.
Kids are going the wrong way. They don't want to go up those steps.
Nice to see these at the station using them for the purpose they were intended.
Yeah, it is. Oh my goodness. Bit of oil on that.
Take a pause here because at this point the railway is right next to the main A2 road heading down towards Laxey and Douglas, and this is a very popular spot. It's one of the island's most popular glens to visit, Dhoon Glen. We've come down a little way into the head of the valley, and then we're going up again in a minute. The valley itself empties out, and then round the corner you have some cliffs and some very spectacular views from the railway. So get yourself ready. As we leave the station, there are some lovely views coming up as we go around the headland and go back towards Laxey. Enjoy. Now the viaduct is of particular interest because when the railway, or tramway, call it what you like, first arrived in Laxey, the terminal station was to the left of the viaduct as you see it now. The church that's hidden in the trees there refused to let the railway company have access to any of their land, but they needed somewhere to turn and store their tram cars, so the viaduct was built as an extended siding, would you believe? Very, very elaborate. Eventually, of course, the railway was joined up. The beat from Laxey to Ramsay was built. It nearly bankrupted the people who initially owned and maintained the railway, but over a course of time it was eventually adopted by the Manx National Government and is now of course part of Isle of Man National Transport. A checkered history. It seems secure, but once again the spectre of cuts and possible partial closure during the winter seems to be rearing its ugly head again, so watch this space, I guess.
This is as we come into Laxey. This looks like the Lady Isabella Mark II. Smaller wheel. Over the road. In a moment we're going to go over it again. As we approach the lovely little station at Laxey.
Laxey Station! Change here for Stayfell!
She represents all she wasn't anyone. I know, I told her to get something.
Lovely. This is the ride that we were looking at just now. Here we are.
just need to talk about this clock. We're in the parish of Baldrine on the way back to Douglas, and this is the parish millennium clock. It's to celebrate obviously the year 2000. You'll find quite a few of these dotted over the island, including some surprisingly unexpected places. They all seem to be to almost identical design, but it's lovely to see them.
Just at the top end of Groudle Glen now.
Now that lane did indeed go down to the Glencairn terminus of the Groudle Glen Railway, and you could see the track bed down there where the arrow shows. Now the Victorians, as you know, were great people for tourism. They really started it off in this country, and so after the railway came up here, the Manx Railway, in 1896, somebody decided it would be nice to build a zoo, so they built it right down there on the cliffs amongst the rocks at the bottom of Groudle Glen, and this was a great attraction, and so the railway was built to take folk from up here down to there. And boy, there were some rather rickety walkways and that they could look, but there were polar bears and sea lions and all sorts of things, and with that and the glen itself was a tremendous tourist attraction. Unfortunately, after the Second World War, with dying trade, it closed eventually, reopened again in 1950, but trade was dwindling and only ran again for another 12 years. I mean, both engines had it by then. These are the original engines. They'd been there, two Bagdell engines dating back to 1896, Polar Bear and Sea Lion. Well, Polar bear has been restored fully at Amberley Museum, and you can see it there. A sea lion was stuffed and mounted at Kirkmichael, but eventually got took to the English mainland and was fully restored, and it now runs quite happily back on its original 2-foot gauge railway, along with 2 new build replicas, Brown Bear and Annie. Unfortunately, there's some concern about the future of Groudle Glen itself. Some of the things have been left to rot a little bit, so there are campaigns going on, I believe, to restore it. I wish I could have found some royalty-free photographs for you, but it's a minefield trying to find them on the internet. The only thing I can recommend is go on YouTube and have a look at some of the videos of the Glen as it is now, and go onto your browser and put photographs of Groudle Glen Zoo, and you'll see some quite amazing things to get an idea of what it was like. I tell you, the Victorians, they put things in some funny places. Anyway, moving on a few years after 1962, the Isle of Man Railway Supporters Association decided it would be a lovely idea to restore this line, and that's what they've worked out gradually ever since. And now you can go from the terminus at the top here right the way down to the terminus below at Sea Lion Rocks, where you can get out and have a look at the ruins of the zoo. And this is what's become a feature and is attracting more and more people to go down and have a look, especially as you've got one of the original locomotives still in service and 2 replicas. So that's a little bit of the history behind the Groudle Glen Railway.
Now we're back at Derby Castle in Douglas. Lovely sunny day now. There's the horse tram place. And of course here they've got a proper run round loop. So only one little bit of fiddling about. Off he gets, look. Turn the pole round. Where the man is waiting to reconnect. Now the easy bit, brakes off, gently push into the station. There we go. And that's it, he's ready to load up for his next journey. This is Nelson, who is going to be pulling us along the promenade for a nice ride on the famous Douglas horse tramway. There we are. Harry. Yep.
Harry. Hello, Harry.
What's back,
The
guys?
ginger whinger.
What's back, guys? You've got a big turn and circle.
Yeah.
Yeah, come on, H. Yeah, you want one of them on your toe,
He's
would you?
sleeping.
Yes. Sit on the time and roll the engine, so mate. Just back up a bit more, Will. Go, H.
Take the dinner.
Oh, there you go. Harry?
He doesn't look
He's the
like the
ginger
kind of
whinger.
horse that's going to take a fuss easily.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, anybody. Oh. He used to have a long time. Yeah.
How many hands is this one?
No idea, kid.
Oh.
Not a clue.
Very big.
Certainly
You're not a
18.
horse.
Unfortunately, by the time we got on the tram, there were so many people on it, I just couldn't get in a position to film properly. But there's plenty available on YouTube, so you can easily go and have a look on that. We went up into Douglas town centre, and just off the seafront we ran into a very old and grey looking man. You know, not a bit like we expected to find him, but he was sat on this bench, and so Jackie decided to sit down on the bench and have a chat with him, and he couldn't talk hardly. He'd been so dry sitting there for years. She offered him a sweetie. I think it was a fruit pastel or something. Anyway, this is a picture of that meeting, and we'll see you in another video. Yes folks, it's Norman Wisdom.